Hello. Let me do my testing and I'll be with you momentarily. We got a very exciting meeting today. Very exciting. But we got to make sure everything's working properly. Just give me a second and I'll be with you. So we're going to be in the house and we're going to be doing good. So let me just pull this up. And I hope everyone's been having a wonderful week so far. And I'm here with you on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays. And this is the podcast for Wednesday. And this is Knowledge from Beyond. And on Knowledge from Beyond, we always have a great show here. We be doing a little bit of everything. What are we doing here? That's a big question. Sometimes even I don't know what we be doing. But anyway, let me just not do this and let me just see what we can do here. Maybe that's not going to work. Maybe we're over here. I still haven't. I need to confirm that everything is working properly. Give me one more minute. Okay. I'm moving slow and I'm in the house. Everything seemed to be working well. So that is great. So my name is Len David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. And what's going on today? What's going on today is that we have a fantastic show. We're going to be talking about who am I here with today? I'm here with the god Zeus. And he's in the house. He got his flame going. And me and Zeus is going to be talking about the return of the gods because the gods are returning. And a lot of people do not know that. And this is going to dramatically change everything. And they already been preparing us for this big shift that we're going to be going through. And this is what we're going to be talking about. Now, in this big shift that we're already started going through, is that the gods are going to be returning, which I'm going to give the definition. People are going to say, how can you say then that the gods are returning? Isn't there just one God? The Bible says that there's not. God said that there is. He's not the only God, but he's the only true God. There is a lot of gods with the little tiny g's out there. And these little tiny G gods is what are returning. And there's a lot of people who have big plans for mankind's future. And this is what the fight is going to be over. Who's going to be controlling man's future in the near future? Is Jesus coming back? Is the fallen angels coming back? Is the New World Order going to take over? There's several people. Is the Immortals going to take over? There's a lot of people fighting for our position to take over and to run things here. And that is what we're going to try to figure out. Now, one of these groups that are fighting to come back is the gods themselves, is the ancient ones, which are the older gods. Okay. The gods of old, which the Bible referred to as the men of renown. And these men of renown is what some people refer to as the fallen ones. Okay. And these people are here and they've been here. As we discussed several times before, the earth is, the earth is nothing but a big giant cattle ranch. But there are lots of forces which are here trying to dominate this planet. In Gnosticism, we always talk in analogies because we talk about a lot of heavy stuff which basically cannot be readily explained. So to easily explain a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, we talk in, we try to find something that we can relate to. Okay, so the analogy of what we're going through this planet is what was happening in World War II. If you was a villager living on one of those small islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you didn't know what was going on. You know, you was there for hundreds of thousands of years, minding your own business, fishing, doing what you do. You always did that. And then these people came. The Japanese came. And they said, hey, there's some bad people out there that's going to try to take over your island, enslave your women, do this and that. And we're here to protect you. So, to protect you, we're going to take half of your island. We're going to put a fence down the middle. If you go past that fence, you're going to get a bullet in the forehead. And we're going to set up some bases and we're going to teach you how to, we're going to protect your island from those bad people. And those villagers didn't know what in the hell to believe or whatever, but they had guns and they didn't. So they really didn't have no choice. And then years later, the Sixth Fleet came along and was bombing their island, this and that and everything else. And millions of people stormed the island. And some of those islanders was food that they're right. These people are here to protect us. And they even put on Japanese uniforms and all of them got a bullet in the forehead. But most of them hid in the caves until the fighting was over. And then we told them that their island was liberated. That we took their island back from those people. But then we let our soldiers have liberty on the island. We built hotels on the island. We made naval and air force bases on the island. And the villagers are still dazed and confused because they just wanted things to go back the way they was in the old days. It's not that they was on Japan's side. It's not that they're on America's side. They just want to be able to catch their fish and do what they do. But their life has been destroyed. And in all of this fighting and all this bloodshed and all of this going on, no one have never asked them, what do the villagers of the island want? Because no one really cares what the villagers of the island want. Okay. And now that is no longer Japan. Now you have China trying to take over the islands in the Pacific. And again, we're building giant military forces and all this stuff. And those villagers still are dazed and confused. This is what is going on in the earth right now. We read about this war in heaven. We read that the kingdom of God is going to return. And and we pray in the Lord's Prayer that God's will be done up on the earth as it is in heaven, because God's will definitely ain't being done here. Okay. But the people that run this world used to have their headquarters on top of the earth. That is what, if you read about the Urantia book and you read about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, and you read about the Greek myths where they talk about this crystal city that was built on this island and everything that we now call Atlantis and everything. This is what they're talking about. And then this city was destroyed. The city was destroyed in the war. So they rebuilt this city and put everything underground, that in what we now refer to as the hollow earth. We don't really know if the earth is hollow or just have a lot of caves in it or whatever, because they don't want us to know. Remember, loose lips sink ships. We know very little about what's going on below our feet, but we know that there's other technologies up on this world which are not ours. And we've been saying flying craft today and whatever, which we refer to as UFOs. And we're saying, oh, that's just started in 1947. But no. Alexander the Great was talking about for flying shields. The people in Egypt, the pharaohs, in their writings talked about these shields that was in the air. in the Bible. The Israelites was, when they was in the desert for 40 days and for 40 years, they was shielded by day by something, by giant cloud, and they was illuminated by night. What was that? Okay. And these little things, and in every culture and around the world, I don't care how primitive of a tribe they are, they have words and vocabulary for those people that come from the stars. And they all have legends about people who was taken by them. Okay. But Lynn, didn't all of this just start in 1947? And Lynn, what does have to do with the return of the gods? Because the age has turned. We're entering a new age. It's the age of Aquarius we entered. The age of the Aquarius is the return of the god, return of the goddess. Okay. And as people talk about in the Bible, how great it's going to be when Christ returns, and that crystal city is going to descend from the heavens, and the Mount of Olives is going to split in half, and the earth is going to be formed back into a paradise. And it says in that book that we carry that we don't read that he's going to rule over the nations with an iron rod. It don't say anything about this is going to be a democratically elected government, about we're going to have a say, that we're going to have, if we don't like what's going on, we'll be able to do marches and whatever, and we'll have a free press. It doesn't say any of that. Okay. And people talk about how great it's going to be when God rules. And if you go all over the world, which is going to upset a lot of people, in Christianity, we're waiting for the return of Christ, which is coming on a flying horse. Okay. If you're Muslim, you're waiting for the Mahdi to return, which is a guy on a flying horse with a sword in his hand. If you're Hindu, you're waiting for Kalki to return. Kalki is coming on a flying horse. Okay. You understand it? So people are going to say, oh, those people just copied the Bible. It's just a copy. Okay. And Islam is 1700 years. Muhammad came 700 years after Christ. But the Hindus' books are thousands of years older than the Bible. And these legends about these people coming and returning are all over the world. Even the people in America, even in Mexico, they talk about how Quetzalcoatl and all of them said that they was going to return. Okay. So, but Lynn, these are all myths and stories. This is not factual. This is not for real. This is all make-believe. It has nothing to do with anything. We all know that, right? The problem is there's a lot of believers out there, Christians, non-Christian, and what is happening, which most people is not aware of, okay, is that Notre Dame said he gave us some signs for this person who's going to return. Okay. He gave us some things we could go by. He said his name was going to be Mabus. We still don't know what Mabus is and who Mabus is, and we've been guessing, and people this was saying that's Saddam spelled backwards, that's this and that, that's this person, that person. We still don't know who Mabus is. Okay. But he says his holy day would be Thursday, which is very strange. Okay. Because this new guy The Muslims' holy day is Friday. The the Jewish holy day is Saturday. The Christian holy day is Sunday. We're being told that this new guy, when Maubus comes, his holy day will be Thursday. Who has a who has a holy day of Thursday? We've been trying to scratch our heads and figure this out. But that guy behind me had the holy day of Thursday. Zeus, the old gods, who the Bible called the men of renown. Okay. And this is what is the secret meaning behind all of these superhero movies that we all love. Superman, Superman, Aquaman, all these people, Thor, all of this, Odin, Odin and Apollo is one and the same. Okay. You know, the gods are the same all over the world, and their description are the same all over the world. The only thing that varies is their name. So we say they are different people. But a dog is a dog is a dog. I don't care what you call a dog in 200 different languages all over the world, it's still a dog. And this is why when you study the ancient God myths, if you quit worrying about the name and go by their description, you will see that this God over here and this God over here has the same description. And they have the same title. And they have the same this. And they're talked about the same way. But their name is different. And people all over the world, in case you don't know about it, is starting to worship the old gods again. In Norway, they're starting to build temples of Odin again. Temples of Odin and Thor has not been around for over 1,000 years. The native people are going back to their old religion. A lot of people who we call pagans and things like that, they're worshiping the old Egyptian gods, the old Greek gods, the old this. Some people are worshiping the Sumerian gods, but all of this is done quietly. Okay. And these people even have their emissaries here. See, before Jesus came, there was people who foretold of Jesus coming. Now, all over the world, there are people who are talking about what their God is going to do when he comes back, and I have met one or two of these people who talk about, how they're here to, because they believe that for these people to come back, certain things need to be done. Okay. And their emissaries are already here. So, will their gods arrive? Will these gods arrive like the Anunnaki or in like the Independence Day or with their giant ships, and they're going to come and land? And we can send up our F-14s and F-15s and F-35s and battle them in the air. Okay. Is that what's going to happen? A lot of people believe that they're already here. Okay. This is one of the secrets about a lot of these people, the secret which we talked about before, the secret of the hollow earth. Because what Apollo withdrew the gods to his winter home. Okay. And where is his winter home located? Beyond the north wind. which is the secret term for the hollow earth. Okay. And they're already here. This is why for thousands of years we've been seeing these flying discs, flying shields, flying saucers. You can call it whatever you want to. Okay. We even found some of these things in cave drawings where they're showing round things floating in the air, and and people with spears and everything. But it's these disc things in the air. These things have always been here. That's the reason in the Bible they refer to them as the Watchers. In the Middle Ages, there's pictures from the Middle Ages, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th century, where they're showing scenes out of the Bible, and they're showing circular craft above the crucifixion of Christ, above certain other scenes. They're showing these circular silver craft in the air. Okay. I guess they thought they was some kind of angel or something. But there are several people who are trying to come back. And what we don't know and what we are confused about is, how are they planning on coming back? Are they, there's, are these people like, like the ones that on the earth, or the ones that are coming, it's still that war that exists that we read about. And the problem is, if the gods return, there's these people that are working with these forces, with these gods and goddesses, as they call it. What's going to happen to the United States of America? What's going to happen to the world as we know it? Are they going to, and this is what you see in these movies about, the Avengers and everything like that. In the beginning, when these people first started showing up, when Superman and the Hulk and all them first showed up, the military tried to fight these people. That didn't work out too well. And then after a while, the government just leaves these people alone and let them do whatever they want. And they have fights and knock over buildings and this and that. And they don't send up jet aircraft to try to stop them or this or that, because we are useless against these beings. Okay. And this is the secret of these people when they return. These gods, or little g's, or whatever you want to call them, or these beings, they have power or possess abilities way beyond the abilities that we have. Some of these abilities are natural. Some of these abilities are technology. Some of them are what? But even if a lot of it is technology, if their technology is thousands, remember the Anunnaki came to this world. According to the books that was just, the tablets that were discovered in Sumer. When the Anunnaki first came here, according to the legends, the old ones was here. And they had clover feet and leather skin. So you got to think about it. If there was people that came when the dinosaurs was here, they probably got technology a little further advanced than what we have today. We have trouble just going to the moon. Okay. And if they was crossing solar systems and doing all kind of stuff, hundreds of thousands of years ago, we're in very, very, very bad shape. But these gods have agendas. Some of them want to rule over us. Some of them want to do different things. Okay. And there is no common, and this is why it says in the Bible, as in the days of Noah. In the end, it will be as it was in the days of Noah. In the days of Noah, these gods or these giants started to fight one another because they was in disagreement with one another. That's what we see in these Avenger movies. This is what we see in all these movies. They are not of one mind. Okay. And back in the days of Noah, it says that, once the giants devoured everything, that they started to devour man. And the cries of man was raising up to the heavens, because we was powerless back then, and I guess we're going to be kind of powerless now. But this is why some people are worshiping these gods now, and they believe that for these gods to come back, certain things have to be done. Certain things have to be accomplished. And these people who are their accomplices need to accomplish their task, and they're going to be rewarded in this new world. Maybe they will be their emissaries. Maybe they will be their this or that. Maybe they will be their ambassadors. Maybe they're just going to get a piece of the pie. Okay. But what about the rest of us? Okay. And what they're not telling you is, now, see, this stuff might have been going on for a very long time. The problem is we didn't have the technology to know what was going on. But now we're starting to see a lot of very strange things that we cannot explain. We have picked up, first we picked up that one very weird asteroid or comet, whatever it was. We call it an interstellar visitor that entered our solar system, flew very fast, did that circle and left. Okay. We still don't know what that is. Now scientists first they believe that it was just some kind of interstellar, well, it's not stellar because it came from outside our solar system. But after they've been studying this thing for a while, some very weird conclusions have come up about this thing. They now believe that this thing was not natural, because if it was a comet, most comets or asteroids or whatever, they stay a constant course and they stay a constant speed. And if they are going to speed up, they speed up as they get closer to the sun. And as they leave and go further away from the sun, they either keep the constant speed or they slightly slow down. This thing did not do that. Whatever this thing was, wherever it came from, it entered our solar system in one path, speeded up, and then slowed down. And then in leaving our solar system, it dramatically speeded up again. And it changed direction 2 or 3 times in the process. Now, how can something natural do that? And since we first saw that object, now we have picked up several more of these strange objects that seem to defy explanation and logic. Because everything in space is supposed to be orbiting at a constant speed, at a constant this. And as I said, it might speed up as it gets pulled closer to the sun. But we have picked up several things now which defy ration and logic. And we don't know what these things are. We just have the ability to start picking up these objects. But we don't know if these are alien spacecraft of some sort. We don't know. We don't know if these are maybe they're we really don't know. And most of these things which are natural, according to us, follow the plane of the solar system, which is like a flat disk. and things are, a few degrees on and off of the plane of the solar system, but most things are along the plane. Some of these things are now coming in at very weird angles, and they don't stay. They come in and then they do this, and then they. How do things that are natural do stuff like this? They may be already here. Their mothership could be already out there. We don't have the technology. As I said, we're only starting to get the technology to detect this stuff. And if we did figure out that, yes, this is an alien mothership coming our way, what in the hell are we going to do about it? We could send up, some astronauts in the space shuttle and try to blow it up. But I don't think, you got to think, we are way out of our league. So this is where it seemed to be heading. Because as I said, a lot of people are talking and openly talking about how the gods are returning, how this group is returning, how this alien group is returning, and I'm using those words interchangeably because we really don't know what the word God means. We really don't know what the word alien means. We really don't know because it's not like we have ever been outside of this blue ball of ours. We have been down the street, but we really don't know. We lack reference points. And without reference points, we really do not know what is going on. And what some of these people who are talking about coming back, they're talking about coming back and setting up their empires and setting up what they call their kingships and their rule over mankind. Okay. And they want to rule over us. Do we get a vote on this? Okay. We are, I don't know. But there's a lot of things which are coming our way. And if we go by the past history, I'm always talking about the future is the past and the past is the future. There's a lot of things that we need to figure out because scientists have now figured out that in the history of the earth, civilization as advanced as we are or higher has existed here on this planet several times. What happened to them? Okay. And how come the evolution of man always seems to plateau and then it goes crashing down and then it goes up and plateaus and crashes back down? And we know, according to the fossil record, we estimate that we have been around the block at least 4 or 5 times. And this matches what the Indians talk about. They talk about that we're that we're entering the 5th world of mankind. Some Indian groups say we're entering the 4th world of mankind because it depends on if you have a 0 or not. The problem is, how come these worlds of mankind keep doing this and then they fall to nothing? Do this and they fall to nothing. Is this because we keep destroying ourselves, or is there something that is controlling things from behind the curtain? Okay. And this is what a lot of people think the Age of Aquarius is about. The Age of Aquarius is the return of the goddess, return of the water bearers. Okay. That's the reason in the old text, in the old Sumerian text, in Babylon and all of that, you see these angel type creatures, not looking like angels we have today. The angels we have today all look like first century Roman soldiers. When you go back to Sumerian myths and Babylonian myths, their angels look more of what the Bible talk about. The Bible talk about how angels had four wings. All of our angels got two wings. Sumerian, Babylonian angels all had four wings. And they talk about how they had different faces. Okay. And one face of a man, and one face of an eagle, and one face of this. Sumerian angels only have one. They have like an eagle's face or something. See, we really don't know. We're way out of our league. And when you get into Sumerian texts, they talk about all of these different types of creatures. But of all these different types of creatures that they talk about, they did not worship the Anunnaki. They did not worship all these other creatures. They only worshiped the gods and the demigods. But they didn't worship this. They didn't worship that. They didn't worship this. They talk about these people and how they had power and how they could do this, but they didn't worship them. Today, we don't know what any of those things are. We only have angel demon. Okay. You see what I'm saying? That's the same as saying, we don't know. I went to the zoo. I saw a lot of things, but I don't know what they are because I only know cat and dog. And I saw a lot of things that wasn't a cat and wasn't a dog. I don't know what they were, but they wasn't cats or dogs. But I only know cats and dogs. I don't know. You see the problem we're going to have? Okay. So we're at a disadvantage. Now, you might say that, well, this is really bad, and the government should be doing something about it. The governments are doing something about it. A lot of the governments around the world, especially ours, are working with these people. Okay. Okay. So, are they working with these people for our benefits or working with these people for their benefits? Most of the governments of the world, especially, see, this was the trick that we discovered after Roswell, that when the aliens signed an exclusive agreement that in exchange for letting them abduct so many people and do testing on humans, that they would give us technology. And that we would be the only nation on the earth that they would sign this agreement with. But then we discovered that the same agreement that we signed, the Russians signed the exact same one, and the Chinese signed the exact same one. And there were several other copies of that agreement out there. Okay, but what can we do about it? Can we call Space Ghost and complain? Okay, can we call the Interstellar Police Department and it's not much we can do. So yes, we have gotten a few goodies out of these beings, but they have gotten a lot more out of us. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because where their goal is this is why in the upcoming changes which are coming, which only they know the date to, which is polar shift. And I will give you a preview of what I mean by polar shift in a second. They're going to help us cross over. Polar shift is that our sun sheds his outer coat every 12,500 years. Okay. And when our sun sheds his outer coat, since we live on the surface of this world, that is called a bad day. Okay. And the last time that happened, when you go back to, that's where you keep hearing this date, 10,500 BC. Okay. Which is 12,500 years ago. What happened then, what scientists call the end of the ice age, something occurred. You know, at that time, the North Pole was located over in Hudson Bay, Canada. All of North America was covered by ice that was a mile thick. And for some reason that scientists can't figure out, All the ice melted. That freed up all the land. Okay. And that's what, since I'm from Ohio, they always preach a lot, that the glacier ended at the Ohio River. That's what separates flat Ohio from Kentucky and Tennessee, which are all hills. The weight of the glacier stopped at that point called the Ohio River. That was the limit of the glacier line. So all of Ohio is flat because of the weight of the glacier. And then it was gone. That's what happened the last time our sun shed its coat. And if you lived in North America, that was a good day. You got all that free land. But if you was in Russia, you had a bad day, because underneath Siberia, there's a rainforest, which is buried underneath the ice of Siberia. There's elephants and animals which are frozen in the ice. And those animals and palm trees and everything else froze so fast. The elephants didn't even get a chance to fall over and die. They was flash frozen in position. I guess you call that a very bad day. Now, we're heading towards this disaster again. Last time, the gods, little g's, big g's, whatever you want to call them, decided to let man perish. And they only told a few of us about the impending disaster. We know that as the flood of Noah's day. We know that about the tale of Gilgamesh. And we know that there was just more than one group that survived, because all over the earth, there are legends from China, from Australia, from South America. There are legends about what happened in that part of the world. Okay. Now, if there was only people in an ark was the only people who survived, how could they talk about that 1/3 of China, 1/5 of China fell into the ocean? Okay. How could the people, the Aborigines in Australia, talk about how there used to be a strip of land that connected all the islands of the Pacific and went all the way down to Australia, and then the land fell into the ocean and only the people at the mountaintops survived? Okay. These stories are all over the world about who survived. In Egypt, they talk about how the Nile, which now flows north and south, used to flow east and west. And then there was a giant earthquake. A large part of the empire was lost, and the Nile changed direction. And that's the reason all the way across the Sahara Desert, you can see carvings of giraffes and lions and things like that. And why would you carve things of lions and things in the middle of the desert? Because it wasn't in the middle of the desert. But when the Nile changed from east to west to north to south, it dried up. Somebody was there. Okay. Now, they're promising to save us from this disaster this time. Last time they took an oath, and they decided not to tell man, to let man perish. And most men and women did perish. Only a few survived. But after the cataclysm, when the gods returned, we fought them. This is what the old Greek myths is about. We fought the gods. We didn't want them anymore, because in our time of need, they forsaken us. And when they came back, we didn't want them anymore. And we drove them from their mountaintops. And we drove them deeper and deeper. We drove them out of the Middle East. We drove them out of the pyramid area, which were called the Pyramid Wars. We drove them out. We destroyed their spaceports. We was very upset. Okay. And even though they had all kind of power, there's a lot of us, there's only a few of them. And we pushed them back. Now they want to return. So they're offering us a deal. It's not that we have any choice in this deal whatsoever, but it's a deal that this time they're going to save our butts. Okay. And there's 3 ways they're going to save our butts. Okay. They're going to take the chosen ones of us up in their spacecraft, which we now refer to as the rapture. Okay. You will be raptured and taken up into the clouds. Okay. A larger number of us will be kept safe underneath the earth in special places. Okay. And the ones who are not taken up, taken into the earth and hidden in special places. There will be those that will be put in special places on the surface of the earth. And if you're not put in one of those places, then you will be left behind. And you have to survive the cataclysm on your own. The 7 days of hell. Okay. But they're going to help us to get through this. They're promising that most of mankind, of the 7 billion people on this planet, they're promising that they're going to try to save 5 billion of us. And after the cataclysm, they're going to help us rebuild to a technology that we have never experienced before. Because it's not going to be our technology. It's going to be their technology. Okay. And that's why these people from the future, which I keep talking about the future. You could never imagine it in your wildest dreams what the future is like. But they say you have no privacy. Okay. And even though the entire world was destroyed, everything was quickly rebuilt because we had help. But they will rule over us after that. Okay. I guess the Avengers will be ruling like it is in the movie. The Avengers rule. And if something happens in the country, we don't call the Air Force or the Army or whatever. We call them the Avengers. Or in the old cartoons, we call them the Justice League. It's the same thing. It's not the UN, it's not the American government, it's not this or that. We call on them because they the ones who have the power. This is what the future of mankind is. And what they're fighting over among themselves is who's going to be the ruler. That's what's happening in these Superman movies and these other movies. They're fighting over who is going to rule. And when these giants fight, you just need to get out of the way. Okay. But do we get a vote on any of this? Do we have a say? And what and how will this, my goal as being a Gnostic is to one day be one with them. Okay. As I always say, which is not funny, but slavery, been there, done that. I'm not looking to serve. I want to be, our goal is to be one. This is what the dream of Star Trek is all about, is that we want to be equal with them. Okay. You see what I'm saying? But it's hard for an ant to be equal to, you can fill in the blank. But this is where we're heading. And the time frame, we do not. But a lot of people think the time frame is short. And the people that have connections with these beings talk about their return will be soon. Okay. But we don't know what time frame they're talking about. Is that soon within 100 years, soon within 1,000 years, soon within 500 years? We have no idea what they're talking about. But they're saying that their return will be soon. Okay. So this is why, if you never heard about this, if you Google some of this about the return of Odin or the return of the Greek gods or the return of the most popular one that you can Google is something like the return of the Anunnaki or the return of Quetzalcoatl. There's people and there are groups that are supposedly working with these beings and people now who are preparing the way for their return and are being their emissaries. Okay. But I'm out of the loop. If you know of any of these people, if I would love to, I've met a lot of weird people in my day. I have met one or two of these people that say that they are one of the chosen ones and say that they are working with this God or this God, and they're, are promised a place, a seat at the table, quote unquote. Okay. The one thing that we have to be careful of, okay, what the Bible talk about is that there are many lists. Okay. And all these groups, the American government, everything, secret society, are all working with these groups, believing that they are the chosen group. And if they work with them and help them, that they will be chosen. The Bible says that there are many lists, but there's only one true list. Okay. And that was written thousands of years ago. So we don't know. But a lot of groups, a lot of religious organizations will tell you, if you're a member of our organization, if you're a member of this or that, we are the chosen group. We are chosen, and we will survive. Okay. But is that true or not true? We will find out in that day. But hopefully, mankind future is, we're approaching a crossroad in lots of ways. And some people believe that these creatures are coming and closing because we will not survive the way we're going. And it's the glass half full instead of being half empty. Is because if man is left up to our own devices, we will destroy ourselves. And these people are coming to enlighten us, to show us a better way. Because once upon a time, they was in our predicament. And we're one of the younger races, and they're one of the older races. And they're here to show us, to put us on the right path. We will find out if the glass is half full or half empty, or maybe it's a mixture of the two. But we will find out, and hopefully it will be later than sooner. But as I said, this is something that I work a lot of time on. I do a lot of studying on myself. And this, to me, is a fascinating topic because, for those who think they're one of the chosen ones or think that they are working with these beings or entities or whatever you want to call them, these are very exciting times. Okay. And hopefully It is not done in vain, and it hopefully is not just all an illusion. But this is what we was talking about today. Maybe some people didn't really understand this. If you want to know more about this, a lot of people think that these God myths was just made up stories, but these stories are not made up. And if you read about these Greek gods or Roman gods, Egyptian gods, whatever, you will notice the parallels between like Thor and Apollo is the same. Okay. Odin and Zeus is the same. Their names keep changing. Okay. But their titles and their description stays the same. And that's how we can, we know the old stories, but a lot of things in the future, I guess we're going to find out the hard way. But hopefully it will be the dawn of a new era in the evolution of man. And maybe that is what will be the pinnacle to get us to cross into the fourth and fifth dimension. Maybe we need assistance to be there, and maybe to get out of this caveman mentality we have now, maybe we need that push or that straightening of the path to help us to cross over into the age of enlightenment. My name is Lynn Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. It was kind of deep, but it's something that you can research yourself, and you will be surprised when you look into it how much information there is out there about the subject. I hope to see. I'm here on Wednesdays on the Spirit Room Network. We're always talking to metaphysical. On Tuesday, I'm on my Facebook page with Knowledge from Beyond, but I'm always here for you. And watch the other shows on this network, and I hope to see everyone again next week. Thank you. I want you to have a nice one. Bye.